All right, hello, North Florida. Welcome to week 2 of the North Florida Blitz here for the 2024 high school football season. Week 1 of FHSAA play coming up this Friday night, and I am Marty Pallman, joined by Joshua Wilson of Florida HS Football.
Sorry for the delay tonight.
Yeah, we're a little bit late. Our South Florida show started a little late due to technical difficulties. Well, then we had a really long interview with Larry Bluestein. So we join you now about 15 minutes later than normal. Usually we'll be on the air at 8:30 every week, but we have plenty to talk about here on the North Florida Blitz as coming up on our show. Of course, we will have our Blitz lines coming up. We'll also have our pick 6, maybe see if we'll have a fan question of the week as well. Originally had an interview, not sure if that's going to come through, but if not, we got plenty to talk about as well.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna. We were supposed to have Noah Ram on, but unfortunately, it sounds like he may have ran into a scheduling conflict, and we'll try to get Noah on here.
Yeah, we'll get him. We got plenty of weeks coming up, and Noah, again, the prep editor for the Gainesville Sun, trying to join us. But and by the way, I'm going to go ahead, shameless plug. Josh and I will both be on with Mike Rideout tomorrow night here in Gainesville at Sonic for the first Prep Zone Sports Show of the 2024 season. That'll be at 7 to 8. You can check that out on MainStreetDailyNews.com, www.MainStreetDailyNews.com. So Josh and I will be out of the studio tomorrow night and
out of the studios
outside at Sonic, joining Mike again, the first show of the 24-25 year. Also, we want to thank J. Philip Crutchfield. No two of us are exactly alike. That's why you need a financial advisor with the freedom to focus on the details that make your life your own, your family, the challenges you face, the dreams that inspire you. Whatever your goals, you need an advisor who can create a plan uniquely tailored to you, all backed by the sophisticated resources of Raymond James. That's life well planned. To learn more, call financial advisor Philip Crutchfield, J. Philip Crutchfield, at 352-642-8330, J. Philip Crutchfield, Esquire. Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, member, New York Stock Exchange, SIPC. All right.
Esquire.
I want to thank Philip as always.
Esquire. Huh.
Esquire, yeah, sounds like a attorney. J. Philip Crutchfield, Esquire. All right. Well, welcome.
What else?
And let's go to the Blitz lines.
Yes, indeed.
We will start this week with, we'll look back at a lot of the kickoff classics for the last Friday night. And we start at Bradford. Columbia, they test Bradford, but the Tornadoes hold on to win that game. Bradford, of course, state runner-up a year ago, trying to come back and make a run to it. Columbia was only 4-6 last year with Brian Allen returning as the coach, but they're looking to improve on that this season as well. No, absolutely, Marty, and that's that honestly, for everything that we have to say here, Bradford, he still has some Division I prospects. Jamie Rogers, he knows what he's doing. He's, as a coach, honestly, I'll tell you. Bradford will be in the mix, for a deep playoff run. But the question for Bradford will be obviously, can they get through a crowded 2A field, and that's going to be the big question there. But Columbia, not with a couple of injuries, lost some players into the transfer. That a couple of those players went to Bradford now, and but so Columbia, the question will be to see, can Columbia grow and be able to bounce back. 4-6 was just a kind of more of an uncharacteristic type deal for Columbia last year. Yeah, it was. And again,
but they did make the playoffs.
They made the playoffs, lost the first round. They had to go all the way over to Pensacola and lost in the opening round to Choctaw, I believe. Yeah, they had knocked them out for Walton, actually. So, but yeah, and again, Brian Allen last year, his first year of his second stint, now in his second season. And I know we talked to him at the North Central Florida Football Media Day. He was not happy with the season last year, but a lot they can improve on, and they will open their season at home. The rivalry game against Swanee this week in Lake City at Columbia. Meanwhile, Bradford, speaking of rivalry games, they will open on the road against Baker County, a team they beat last year in the region final round. So right away, they'll come right back and open with a game at McClenny against Baker County this Friday night.
No, absolutely, and for looking at everything here, yet it's really at this particular point, it's you get the preseason, you get everything out of the way. Now it's you turn your head to week one. Everybody's 0-0.
That's right, everybody's 0-0. So that's why everyone has hope when the season begins. Yeah, there's another big kickoff classic. How about Bartram Trail and Riverside? Two teams that have always been perennial postseason teams there. Bartram Trail in St. John's and Riverside there in Jacksonville. Bartram Trail beats them 39-35 to start. And Bartram Trail will open their season with Oakleaf this week.
Yes, and Oakleaf, they were down last year, so they don't
be back this year.
It depends, but because they don't even have enough to build the JV team this year.
Oh wow, well then maybe not. So where does Riverside? They're open their season as well this Friday night.
And Bartram Trail, they opened their season with Sumner out of Riverview.
Bartram Trail was with Sumner. Oh, I'm sorry. So Riverside's playing. Are they playing Oakleaf?
I think so.
Yes. Okay, they are. That's right. I thought it was Bartram is playing Sumner. That's a good first week game. Sumner coming up from Hillsborough County and Riverview, play Bartram Trail. Two more big games there. St. Augustine beating Ponte Vedra. Again, those are two loaded teams that are St. Johns County battle in the Kickoff Classic. St. Augustine State run-up a year ago. Ponte Vedra advanced to the third round. And Lincoln over in Tallahassee defeating Florida High. Two big Tallahassee programs there. Lincoln gets the win over the Seminoles of Florida High in their preseason Kickoff Classic.
No, absolutely, yes. And, St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra is going to be a good team. And, it was only a 10-point difference between those two teams. And then Lincoln, a team that we haven't, really talked about, but a team that's always in the playoff hunt, but hasn't really been in the state title conversation as of late.
No, they haven't. But we know Florida High has. In fact, they just a couple of years ago played for the title at Gene Cox Stadium in Tallahassee. But yeah, Lincoln, we talked about the 2010 area, 2005, that era. Lincoln was really playing for state championships. So we'll see if the Trojans can get back in the mix this year there in Tallahassee. Moving on, continuing further west into the Panhandle, Choctaw, blast Milton, not Milton, Georgia. We talked about them in the South Florida Blitz. Milton, Florida. Tate beats Pine Forest 10-7. Looks strong there. And Bozeman, this is a not off the field story, but yeah, Bozeman.
Unfortunate oversight, Marty.
Unfortunate oversight. I'm not really sure what that means.
They had a player that started that practice, and what happened? He shouldn't have been practicing to start with until he was actually enrolled in the school, and it caught everything off guard, and the head coach served 1-game suspension last week. So the new head coach, Bronson Sweat, he'll be on the field this week. But the best thing, and honestly for Bozeman, self-reporting, that's when schools face these issues, obviously self-reporting with the FSA is always the best way to go. When you don't want
they look more favorably on that. It's true. So Bozeman, you said the coach got a 1-game
suspension, but other than that, Bozeman, there's been a few transfers that have actually come into the program. They thought they were going to take a step back this year, but they may be all right and may be able to go forward.
And they've moved out of the rural classification. They're now in 2A.
Yes.
So a little bit different for Bozeman Bucks this year. So we'll see how that works out for them. We also go ahead. Sorry.
Well, we'll just remind everybody, if you got a comment, hit the comment box on whatever platform you're watching us on. Also, follow us on social media: Twitter at FLHS Football, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Florida HS Football, and also click that notification bell when we go live or post videos.
Sorry, I forgot about saying TikTok earlier. I'm looking right at the little note thing, and I call it so much I know about TikTok. But yes, you can definitely watch us on many different platforms, social media platforms as well. All right, well, as we take a look back at the SSAA, we talked about that last week. They got going in the opening this season. Paxton, I don't know what that says. Paxton
and Bishop Snyder. Hold on. Yes, I will fix that real quick.
That's okay.
The comma.
The Paxton did defeat West Nassau.
Yes,
to open the season, and we'll hear in our picks. I messed that one up bad. Bishop Snyder getting a win. Christchurch, no problem with Interlochen. That's another one that didn't go well. Cedar Creek Christian came to Gainesville. Then they were able to beat St. Francis pretty easily. Eaglesview with a win as well in Jacksonville. St. Joseph and Old Plank Christian. First win in 11-man football for Old Plank Christian at Jacksonville as they beat Sarasota Christian last week. And I had a chance to go out to Bell. That's where I was on Friday night. And that was maybe a little bit of surprise there as well, as Oak Hall here in Gainesville took the trip over to Bell about 45 minutes, and they got a big loss, 42-21. Joey Whittington's team, they're the Bell Bulldogs, now joining SSA this year, and they took care of Oak Hall. The game was 21-0 Bell. Oak Hall tied it 21-all, and then Bell scored the last 21 points. Oak Hall lost their quarterback, Dakota Brower, in the third quarter. Of course, his father's the interim coach, Randy Brower. So
yes,
big win for Bell to start the season, as they will take on their rival Trenton here on Friday night. Trenton's first game of the season. They are not an SSAA team, but Bell will head 10 miles south to Trenton. Meanwhile, Call will be on the road again at Brantford. They'll head back northwest. So,
and just to kind of give you a little tease of our pick 6 this week, we got some good games.
Yeah, this is the best week 1 I can remember. And we talked about this in the other shows we've done so far. Gulf Coast, big games this week. Central Florida and South Florida is just loaded with some nationally. There you go. Thank you very much. Nationally ranked teams. And we'll see if the computer can match up with us this week, or if the computer will be hearing.
I'm still trying to still get some things with the computer straight for these games here. So we may not have necessarily all the computer rankings on that, but we did have them on the other one. But we're still working on that, trying to get it all situated and sorted out here. Yeah. But I can tell you, for a couple of the games already that we have. I mean, Buchholz and Vanguard is going to be a big one on ours.
That's a big game. That'll be a game that our friend Mike Radout will be broadcasting on Friday night, their opening radio broadcast of the season. So looking forward to that game, Buchholz and Vanguard. Last year, Buchholz didn't have any trouble with Vanguard there at Citizens Field. This show will play at Booster Stadium. Find out Buchholz only has 4 true home games this year because Eastside doesn't really count. That's kind of a half and half game. But they are on the road at Vero Beach next week. They actually play GHS is a home game, and Cardinal Newman later in the year will be the last game of the season. Will be a home game for them. So Buchholz has got an interesting schedule,
but they play tough. They always play a tough schedule, and Mark Whittemore being back.
Yeah, and speaking of Buchholz, their kickoff classic, they went to Spruce Creek and won 7-2.
7-2, but
that was almost like your 11-3 mainland game.
Yes, 7-2
baseball game broke out, but
or as we sometimes get those high scoring games, and it's like, hey, they just swapped the football out for play, and they decided to go outside and play basketball in the gym.
That's right. So, but that's coming up in our pick 6 again. No interview tonight. We are a little bit. Schedule changed a little bit, but we'll get Noah Ram on later on in the season from the Gainesville Sun. But we still have a lot to talk about. So when we come back, we will get to our pick 6 and other things to talk about here on the North Florida Blitz. All right, welcome back to the North Florida Blitz. Marty Pallman, Joshua Wilson with you, watching us tonight here on Facebook, also on Twitter X, YouTube. I call it Twitter X now.
Twitter X.
TikTok, and go ahead and talk about YouTube.
YouTube,
Josh?
hit that subscribe button at Florida HS Football and hit that notification bell. You want to click that so you get updates when we go live or we post new videos.
So, again, this Friday night, big start to the regular season, and we look forward to the games. I don't know if Josh will be somewhere, I think, Friday night, trying to figure that out. Not sure yet. I'll be all the way over in Palm Coast, basically as far as I can go without going into the ocean. Bishop Kenny will play Matanzas on Friday night. So
please don't drive in the ocean, though.
No, I'm not going to do that. I know not to do that. Bishop Kenny football, though, I will be broadcasting that on 92.5 in Jacksonville. Although this week, only online because, well, the Jaguars are playing Friday night. It's the official Jaguars station. So the Jaguars have a preseason game against the Falcons, but we will be online at 92.5fm.com.
We do have a question.
Yes, we do. And we go back to the Panhandle. Thoughts on Mosley's 58-0 win over South Walton. Well, impressive considering the last time I saw Mosley, Buholtz was blowing them out last year in the postseason, but South Walton usually pretty good as well. It's a good win in the kickoff classic.
Good win, but at South Walton doesn't have a home field right now because their stadium and the home field is getting renovated. So,
oh, really? Well, I mean, I didn't hear anything from Hurricane Debbie causing any damage to any of the. I remember last year, Adalia hit Madison pretty hard, Madison County, but
yeah, they're further west, so nothing too crazy that happened out there. So that's good. The Panhandle.
Well, I was just thinking the Big Bend. I haven't heard anything about Taylor this year, Taylor County, or anything over that way towards Lafayette. I guess everything's okay there. Adalia really that was also week 2 last year that happened. Hopefully, knock on wood, we've had all of those for this year. But if you want to email us a question, Florida football at FloridaHSFootball.com. We will answer your question next week on the show. Subject line, fan question of the week. So let's see. We talk about the openers here this week. More comments. Tough for Vanguard to place Fred Gaskin. Yep, it is. And I think Vanguard might take a little bit of a step back this year. You heard they went down and played at Central against Travis Powell last week and did not have a good game. It was easily Central winning that game. And now Vanguard has to open with Buholtz. That's all. And as usual, Coach Farmer's got a tough schedule. But yeah, they're going to have to replace their talented quarterback from the last few years, Fred Gaskin. So we'll see how that works out for Vanguard. Again, they start Friday night at Booster Stadium in Ocala against the Buholtz Bobcats. And looks like we're going to go ahead and do our pick 6. Josh just played the music, so here we go. And first, we got to look back on last week, and I'm already looking at the results. That's no good. Man, well, dropped a game there after picking up games in the Gulf Coast and Central Florida. So Josh 4-2. I had the same record as the computer, 500, 3-3. Peter's struggling a bit here week 1.
But as I work on this over time, and I get some components added. Eventually, it may take a few years to work on this.
A few years? Wow.
Oh, that's how. I mean, I heard Jeff Fisher how he worked on his. It didn't happen just overnight. So
I mean, as you said, he's got the top 300, but he actually has the top 1,500. Imagine ranking that many teams. But that's the results from last week. Those are the SSAA games. As we look at it, Interlochen and Christchurch. Josh took Christchurch, or no, we both took Interlochen, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Both lost that game. Josh had Paxton. I had West Nassau. Paxton won that game, and I guess Stanton, Umatilla beat Stanton. We both had Umatilla there.
Yeah, and it was actually even on the computer there. So I mean, but Buholtz just had a little higher.
What's the other games down here?
So right here on the list, so for this last week, yes, last week that we were still looking at back at last week here.
Umatilla wins. So Rocky Bayou Christian,
White House PCA won that one there, and then Ocall dropped totally that one.
Both took Ocall there. I know Bell wins, and then they lick Weir over Bronson.
Yes.
So the difference ended up being the Paxton West Nassau game.
Yes.
Josh got correct. So, all right, Josh with a 1-game lead, but again, that's a long way to go as we head now to officially week 1 of the high school season. And there we go. We just talked about this game. We'll start with Buholtz and Vanguard from Ocala. And
we heard Larry Bluestein on the South Florida Blitz talk about Buholtz, a team to watch, a team that's been in the state semifinals the last 3 years.
Yeah, last 3 years. And Mark Whittemore returning as the head coach. Chuck Bell was the coach last year, back to the defensive coordinator position there. They do have to replace some guys on defense, some guys like Miles Graham, but their quarterback, Trace Johnson's back. They've added Kill McGriff. Travis McGriff is coaching the offense there. So there's some changes, but really nothing big. Mark Whittemore returning as the head coach. Vanguard, on the other hand, as you said, Coach Farmer, again, he's had his team in the playoffs every season, but they do have to replace a pretty talented guy in Fred Gaskin. And I like Buoltz to win this game on the road to start the season.
All right, so the computer, we're still trying to get a few things situated with some stuff with the numbers, but I do have this one on this particular game here, and I'll just mention it here. Computer's predicting Buchholz 13 over Vanguard, and I think both of us are in favor of Buchholz here.
Yeah, I think I have Buchholz winning this game to start. Just Vanguard's going to have some growing pains, I think, this season.
Yes.
And that's a tough one to start with Buchholz. But, all right, so we both go with Buchholz. Oh, how about this one? University Christian and Newberry. Newberry last week, no problem in their kickoff classic. They beat Lafayette easily. Meanwhile, University Christian traveled to Williston. Close game. Williston was able to beat the Christians, and now they got to travel back to Newberry. And, well, Josh, Newberry, we also heard Larry Bluestein talking about Newberry. He thinks it's a team. Both you guys were talking about it. They've moved to 2A as well, and
yeah.
they are
Something's cooking out. Something's cooking out there over there on Highway 26 going into Newberry.
Johnson, yes, sir. Back as the head coach. And I tell you, I like University Christian as well, but I'll take Newberry at home in this one.
And that's where the pick is going in the foot computer on this one. I do have that one as well. Newberry 3 over University Christian.
Pretty much even there. So Newberry at home with a slight edge. All right, next was another big one. How about this? Again, week 1, there's just loaded with games. South Sumter, though, taking a long road trip to Niceville. The place so nice, they named it Niceville. And, well, I mean, this is South Sumter's going to be really good this year. I mean, they really this is going to be a good team. But I don't know if they're going to take this trip and win this game on the road. I know
this is a tough place. It's a tough environment. I mean, Eagle Stadium, it's 75% of the stadium is filled with Niceville fans, maybe 25%. Maybe I'm being very generous for that 25%. It may be more like 90% Niceville fans, 10% the visiting team.
I think Niceville has most of those fans. You're right. But again, I think I'm going to be impressed with South Sumter, but this is a tough game for them to win to open. I'll take Niceville at home, and looks like
yes, and
we do not have.
I don't have that one ready yet on that one, but I have a feeling. Okay. Honestly, I feel like Niceville would be probably the computer's pick, probably most likely. But it depends. But South Sumter's been really good, so we'll see what happens. What the computer numbers say and come out once I get this crunched out.
All right. Okay. So, I like this next game too. It's a big matchup in Jacksonville. Rains and Bowls. And, that's a game that through the years has been, I mean, they played in the postseason many times. They used to be district rivals. They kind of split these games mostly. But honestly, at this point, I mean, I like Rains, but this Bowls team, I think they're back. They're going to be pretty loaded. I mean, you heard Larry Bluestein talking about them. They were 5-5 a year ago and went all the way to the state semifinals, played Norland. And 2 years ago, did the same thing. They had their record was like 6-4. So they're a team that has kind of been struggling, but their regular season schedule is tough. But I'm going to go with Bowls at home.
Well, I'm going with Bowls at home. How about that? I will. I know, but you're playing at Skinner Barco Stadium. I mean,
yes, Skinner Barco. That's right.
That's a tough place to play.
Right on the St. Johns River there. Yeah, that's correct. There.
Nice camp. Bowls is a nice campus.
It really is.
Go watch a game there. I recommend going and watch a game there, people.
I agree. I did last year, 2 of them. Did 3 weeks with Bishop Kenny and didn't go well. But BK does play Bowls this year in a couple weeks, but that is at Bishop Kenny. So, all right, we'll both take Bowls there. Big matchup in Jacksonville. Now, you talked about this game earlier, Josh. Bartram Trail hosting Sumner, and Sumner, a team out of Hillsborough County.
Regional finals last year. Bartram Trail state regional semifinalists last year, but we know how Bartram Trail is. Always a team that you cannot ignore. If you ignore Bartram Trail,
and then that
and Sumner starting to become a team you cannot ignore either. So take your pick.
They're a very new program there, but. At this point, I got to say I'll take Bartram Trail again to win this opener home. You're right. Bartram is always
watch a game or two at Bear Stadium there in St. John's, and you'll understand why.
You and I broadcast the state semifinal game.
I've been to regular season game either, especially Bartram Trail and Creekside. You know, if it's that game, regardless of where it's at, Bartram Trail and Creekside, that game.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been to a bunch of games at Bartram, but I've never been to Creekside for a game.
But those two schools right there, they pack the stands out, regardless, because they're only a few miles apart.
Miles apart, right? We talked earlier about St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra. Those two. Another team to watch in St. Johns County, everyone's talking about Beachside. Third-year program. The first year they've been in a district in FHSA play, and they're expected after going 9-1 last year. So St. Johns County, that's, again, football loaded in that county. I didn't even get to Nice or anything there.
Yeah.
All right, finally, we go to the Panhandle. This used to be a game in the rural classification 1A, but again, Bozeman's moved to 2A. They'll host Holmes County,
who is still in the rural.
It's still in the rural. So this is a rivalry game for the most part. But the Bozeman Bucks coming off that little bit of deal with the FHSAA, but they're ready to start their season. Another team that has contended many times, and I got to say that, wow, I see Josh's pick, and we're going to have a difference here because I'm going with Bozeman at home.
I'm going with Holmes County on the road.
All right. So what is your reasoning there?
I mean, I know Bozeman, they had that run last year, but Holmes County was very close on knocking on that door. And, but anything in the rural, as we say, goes with rural teams. Rural is a classification of its own. You know, you're not always going to have the best, you're not always going to have the talented athlete year in, year out.
Right.
So you may have that generational talent come through, and then the next year or you could be like Hawthorne, where you just got kids coming through.
Yeah, they just got kids coming through and kids coming in. I mean, honestly, they do. They get players. So, and Hawthorne, that team we haven't talked about, they start their season at Anclote. Probably shouldn't have much of a problem there on Friday night. And then the season gets tougher. They'll play Newberry next week. Okay, so do we have any questions, any comments?
Actually, we do have a couple of comments in here. And Nole Hayes joining us says the drive alone hurts opponents at Niceville. Yeah. Yes, you're right about that. Anyone going to Niceville, it's a tough place to play.
Yeah, it is. And we've seen that through the years of teams from this area going out there to play as well.
Marcus, you should make Blitz shirts for all the coverage.
I agree. Design us something, we'll use it. Maybe look something like the North Florida Blitz.
Should we sell Blitz t-shirts?
Sell them? I don't know.
We're not there yet, right?
No, maybe not quite, but at some point that's possible. But it would be funny, kind of cool to show up every week wearing a North Florida Blitz shirt. But hey, that's something to think about for the future. Well,
what's your final thoughts?
The show
Marty?
went pretty quickly here. Again, our South Florida show long tonight, and we apologize starting late, but unfortunately, our guest was able to join us. But hey, a lot going on, and my final thoughts are, Josh, I'm excited. It's game week. I mean, last week was kind of a little bit of an appetizer for the main course this week in week one. There we go. The crowd goes wild. SSAA play and the kickoff classics as well. So this is it. We got games on Friday night.
Yes, indeed. That's a good thing here, is that we do have games Friday night. As I was going through the schedule earlier, all the games should be uploaded to the score stream here pretty soon, if not already. But I can tell you this: there's between 11-man football and 8-man football, there are over 300 games on the schedule this week in the Sunshine State.
Wow, 300 games.
300 games.
We can only be at like one at a time. So,
well, we were just talking about that, Purdy.
Yeah. And how do you feel about Real Bowls and Reigns this week? Well, it's going to be a heck of a game. But like I said, we're both taking bowls just mainly because, it's a home game. Bowls is going to be pretty good again. And that doesn't take anything away from Reigns, but Bowls beat Reigns last year in the postseason as well. So they'll try to do it again here this week at home. So, But Purdy, appreciate the question. And that will be that'll be a game we'll be paying attention to, definitely. Of course, Saturday, the nationally televised games from South Florida on ESPN. It's going to be a fun week of high school football. Great week one to start. But all right, well, that will do us for this week. North Florida Blitz every Tuesday night at 8:30 to 9:15 normally. And we will be with you again next Tuesday night for our third edition. We'll have games to talk about. Recap.
Yes.
I am Marty Pallman for Joshua Wilson for hsfootball.com. Say good night, Josh.
Good night. And so long.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.